So, by certain mystic process, by looking into Ruchi's eyes, he entered into her body through her eyes. He transferred his whole, even his physical self within her. So he was inside of her body. So wherever she went, he was automatically there. So then Indra, he thought that now Ruchi is alone. So he came very boldly and presented himself before Ruchi and said, "So my beautiful girl, here I am, the great Indra," twirling his mustache. "And you are so beautiful, and I am so strong and powerful, so we are a perfect match." So, but within Ruchi Devi's body, Vipula, he stopped all of her senses. He stopped all of her sensual activity. So she was just standing frozen like a statue. And Indra was doing everything he could, but she was not responding in any way. So Indra became very curious. Why is this woman standing like a statue? She's not even acknowledging me, not saying anything, not looking in my direction. So then he stood in front of her eyes and looked inside. He looked deep into her eyes. You could see Vipula. And he became very embarrassed. And he left. He left immediately. Oh, what is this? How can I enjoy this woman if there's some man inside of her? A very strange situation. So he departed. So when Devasharma returned, and Vipula came out through Ruchi's eyes, and Vipula told Devasharma that Indra tried, but I protected your wife. So Devasharma was very, very pleased with his disciple. Now, later on, the sister of Ruchi, whose name was Prabhavati, was getting married. There was a great marriage ceremony. So Ruchi came to that ceremony to see how his sister was getting married. And she came with her hair decorated by a special kind of flower, which actually only grows in the heavenly planets. So when Prabhavati, Ruchi's sister, saw that she was so nicely decorated with these flowers, she thought, since I'm the bride, I should also be so decorated with such flowers. So then Vipula, he was requested, get some flowers, these same kind of flowers. So that was quite an endeavor, because these flowers are very rare. So on his way to get the flowers, he saw a very curious sight. He passed a field, and there were two farmers in the field. These farmers were turning a water pump wheel. They were irrigating their fields. So to bring water to the fields, they were turning a big wheel pump. And just as Vipula walked by, the two farmers started to argue. They were saying, one was saying to the other, "I've turned this wheel enough, now it's your turn. You do some work now." The other one was saying, "What are you saying? I turned it so much before, you have not done as much as me yet." And then suddenly, the other one, he pointed to Vipula and said, "Look, if you tell a lie, then you're going to get what he is going to get when he goes to hell." So Vipula was wondering, what is this? They don't even know who I am. I don't know who they are. Why does he say I'm going to go to hell? How does he know this? So he was thinking about this. He went and got the flowers. Then on the way back, he saw 6 gamblers by the roadside. They were playing dice. And just as he walked by, they started to argue with one another, accusing one another of cheating. "You cheated! No, you cheated!" And then one of them pointed to Vipula and said, "Look, if you cheat at gambling, then you're going to get what he's going to get when he goes to hell." So again, Vipula was, he was wondering, what is this? What does this mean? These must be omens, some type of sign. So he was worried. Why these omens are indicating that I'm going to go to hell and be punished very severely. So after he delivered the flowers, he requested a private audience with his Guru Maharaj, Deva Sharma, and he explained what he saw on the way to and from getting the flowers. And Deva Sharma said, yes. So these two farmers, they're actually day and night, personified, day and night. And the wheel they're turning is the wheel of time. And the 6 gamblers are the 6 seasons. Just as here in Europe we count 4 seasons, in India they count 6 seasons of the year. So day and night and the 6 seasons are witnesses, as are the demigods, as are the 4 directions, as is ultimately the super soul in the heart. These are witnesses to all the activities of the human being. Some person may think he's very expert in privately committing sinful activities so that no one else can see, but day and night can see, the 4 seasons can see, and they record. They keep the record. So at the time of death, it is like a trial, like a court case, you see, and the witnesses come forward to testify. So when day and night and the 6 gamblers were saying that Vipula would have to suffer in hell, that meant that they had seen him commit some sinful activity. So Vipula, he was wondering about this. Now, what sinful activity could I have committed? I've been a brahmachari in the ashram with my spiritual master. I've simply served my guru. I never transgressed the religious principles. So what could they be talking about? So he reflected, and then he thought, there's only one thing. And he considered that because he entered the body of Ruchi, he transferred himself inside of her body, that these witnesses were taking that to be an intimate association with her. Now this is one of the very great sins. Just like to kill a cow. You see, is in the Vedic scriptures one of the very, very great sins. So similarly, to intimately associate with the wife of the Guru is an equally very, very heavy sin. So then Vipula, he thought that, this must be what they mean. And so he said to his Guru Maharaj, it seems that I have committed this sin in trying to protect Ruchi as per your order. It seems that these witnesses will testify that I have committed a great sin. Now I have to go to hell. So his spiritual master Deva Sharma said, no! Vipula, you do not have to go to hell. I say you don't have to go to hell. So the spiritual master, he protected his disciple. He declared, the Guru is heavy. So even if the witnesses of material nature, even if they determine that a disciple, a sincere devotee, has committed a sin, the disciple is nonetheless protected by Guru and Krishna. So that sin will not actually, the reaction will not actually fall upon the disciple. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, apichat suracharo atiti mamananyava. Lord Krishna says that my devotee may, from material estimation, he may fall down and commit a sin. But if he is fixed in devotion, he will not have to suffer the reaction. He is protected. Do not doubt this. So here's the point. This is the point I wanted to make, that since this human life is risky, we take risk at every step. So we should take risk for Krishna. And even if, according to the rules of this world, we make a mistake, and even if, according to the rules of this world, we're considered sinners, if we were sincere in our service to Guru and Krishna, not meaning to transgress any laws of material nature, but sincerely to the best of our ability, trying to serve Guru and Krishna, then we will be protected from the reaction. After all, guys, we know from the scriptures that sin is accrued by the human being, even by his stepping upon unknown living entities when he walks down the path. You see? As we walk along, we crush thousands of unseen, tiny living creatures, microbes, little insects, or whatever they may be, little worms in the dust. So with every step, yes, it's a holocaust. Mass slaughter. And actually, we are responsible for that. It's not that we can plead ignorance, so I didn't see them. No, there is reaction. But if one is stepping, if one is walking in Krishna's service, then he's protected from that reaction. If he's walking along the path for sense gratification, then he's accruing sin. So this risk is there. With every step, we're committing so many sins. So take that risk for Krishna. Then one is surely protected by the grace of Guru and Krishna. So I'll stop here. Are there any questions? Yes?
I have two questions. It's not mine, this is from different persons. I'm translating. First question is, how one can elevate himself in the spiritual world from Vaikuntha to Goloka Vrindavan or higher?
That is the theme of a work, scriptural work, called Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by Sri Sanatana Goswami. So the hero or lead character of this work is a devotee named Gop Kumar. So he received initiation into chanting the holy name of the Lord from a devotee of Krishna. And by this chanting, he was gradually elevated, first through the higher regions of the universe, one after the other, the higher planetary systems. And in each place he was being requested by the predominating deities that you stay here. You're a very nice, saintly person, so stay here in our planet. But he was not satisfied. He kept chanting and his consciousness kept developing. So he would go beyond to the next higher place. And then finally he came to the boundary between the spiritual and material world, which is known as Shivaloka. And then he crossed into Vaikuntha. And he kept on chanting, and in this way his devotion developed even beyond Vaikuntha to Ayodhya Dham, the spiritual planet of Lord Ramchandra. Then finally to Dwarka Dham, the planet of Lord Krishna, but this is a majestic, Lord Krishna's majestic feature. And even there, he was not fully satisfied. So finally, by his chanting his mantra, he attained Sri Vrindavan Dham. And there he was fully satisfied in his mood of devotion. So, everyone who's been initiated into the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, if they continue simply to chant, chant sincerely, then their ultimate destination is Goloka Vrindavan.
Second question is, this is not necessary, but I was asking, is it possible to change the rasa?
Well, every living entity, he has his predominant rasa. But there are, opportunities to serve Krishna in different rasas. There is one narration of a cowherd boy who was with Krishna in the forest. Krishna decided to take a bath. He desired to take a bath, but the river Jamuna was not nearby. So this cowherd boy, he assumed the form of a river immediately because he wanted to serve Krishna. He was so eager to serve Krishna. So he became a river, and Krishna bathed in that river. So that means he changed his rasa from Sakya to Shantaras. And then when Krishna came out of the river, this same cowherd boy became a towel for Krishna to dry his body. So every devotee has his predominant rasa, but when there is opportunity, Krishna gives opportunity to serve him also in different ways. And in Goloka Vrindavan, the mood of service is spontaneous, you see. This is the particular feature of bhakti in Goloka, spontaneity. So therefore the devotees, seeing that Krishna desires a particular service, they will immediately take the opportunity to serve him in that way. Any other questions? Yeah? No, I thought...
Third question is...
you said you had two questions. Oh, great.
And the last question, very much they're wondering about this prediction about 1994 or 1999 about nature cataclysm or third world war. What is actually true about all these things? For example, including this Radama.
Truth is you can die in 1 second and then you won't see 1994 or 1999. And apart from that, everything is under Krishna's control. These are very special times because Lord Chaitanya's movement is spreading across the earth. So there is a plan of material nature, there's a plan of material destiny, but there is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's plan, which is a transcendental plan. Srila Prabhupada actually said that if the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement were very, very enthusiastic to preach the Sankirtan Dharma and make everyone on this planet devotees, then the Satya Yuga could begin earlier than it's supposed to begin. We could move right from right now into the Satya Yuga. Prabhupada said that. So I've always understood that to mean that the material destiny is subordinate to the Sankirtan movement. As the Sankirtan movement spreads through the world, as people become purified and take up the chanting of the holy name, then the whole destiny of the world changes. And there is the possibility that Kali Yuga could be ended within a few years. And we could go right into Satya Yuga. Prabhupada said this is possible. Of course, that would mean we'd have to be very, very pure creatures for that to happen. So that may not happen, but in any case, whatever Nostradamus or anyone else may have predicted does not have to happen because of the influence of the Sankirtan movement. So these predictors, these karmi predictors, they're karmis too. They may have some extraordinary power of vision. but they're still karmis. So they can only predict in terms of their own karma. According to the karma they have, they make a prediction. So if their karma is sinful, then they can only predict, you see, bad things in the future. But devotees, they exist on a different platform. Prabhupada said our future is very bright, regardless of what happens in the material world. The future of the devotees is very bright. Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he destroys the demons. He never says he destroys the devotees. He protects the devotees. So the devotees, even if there is some cataclysm somewhere, the devotees need not worry about it. That is the reaction of the karma of the sinful person. So, the more this movement spreads, the more people become purified. Then that means the less heavy such cataclysms will be. Obviously, because those who are engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, they do not have to suffer such reactions. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Sometimes we hear that the human beings, because they are in the mode of passion, they generally or very often take human birth again. But sometimes we also hear that anybody who eats cow flesh, he will take birth as many times as there is hair on me. How does this go together? Because generally when they're in the mode of passion, there's also a sinful activity. So what it actually determines?
Well, you see, passion is in between goodness and ignorance. So, yes, human being is in between. Human being is in between the demigods and the demons. In between goodness and ignorance. So, human beings have a choice. And some human beings, they simultaneously, in the course of their lifetime, they perform pious activities as well as sinful activities. So by the pious activities they perform, they're able to take human birth again. By the sinful activities, they have to go to hell. So all this has to be managed. So, you see, they may be able to take a human birth again, even though they have committed grave sinful activities. You know the story of Maharaj Nriga. After his human life, he came before Yamaraj, and Yamaraj asked him, what do you want now? You have so many pious activities, but you have one grave sinful activity. So which one do you want first? So he could have chosen the pious reaction right away, but he was more intelligent. In fact, we can understand that most people would probably want the good reactions first. And they want to stave off the bad. But he was more intelligent. He thought, well, I'll take the bad reaction first, get that out of the way, and then I can just enjoy it. So therefore he had to become a lizard in a well. So you see, this is how karma works. So in the human form of life, yes, those who commit some pious activities, then they may have due to them future births as human beings. They may take them in the next life, and the next life, maybe a few lives in succession. But eventually, these sinful activities will catch up with them.
So this means that they have to go to hell anyway.
Yes. Yes. Even the followers of religions like Christianity or Islam, in which there are pious deeds, but also they eat cow flesh and so on. They also perform sinful activities. They may even be promoted to a heavenly planet. But after they've lived out their time in that heavenly planet, then they have to come back down to earth, and then thereafter they may fall into hell.
So when you have been to hell, I've understood it sometimes that you have to go through the lower species of life first before you can take a human birth. Or is it so that you can go directly from hell to take a human birth again?
Well, karma is very intricate. And karma ultimately, because there's so many countless individuals in this universe, and everybody has an individual karma. So one can find examples of anything, I suppose. But generally, the general rule is that yes, after one goes to hell, then he gradually rises. That is described in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by Vipula Story. That is a general system, this gradual evolution. There may be exceptions. I mean, you cannot rule anything out, because just consider how many living beings there are in this universe and how complex karma is. Anything else? Yes.
Krishna, when he is cheating someone, it is also described as attractive. How has the living entity in the material world received this cheating propensity, and how it is changed so it is not attractive here?
You mean the cheating of the living entities?
Yeah, but because this word is described as a word of cheaters and cheat.
Yes. Well, this is everything that is happening here. Whether cheating or anything else, it's all imitation. Everyone is simply imitating Krishna. But they're not Krishna. Only Krishna is all attractive. So this imitation is going on in terms of the modes of nature, material modes of nature. Everyone is doing this imitation in a body produced of the modes of nature. So the attractiveness of this body and this body's activities is just cheating. It's just Maya. This body is not actually attractive. It's a lump of flesh, blood and bones. So here's an example of cheating, how people dress up the material body to make it look so-called attractive. Dress it in nice clothes and style the hair and put on makeup and whatever. Or go to the bodybuilding place next to Govindas and get big muscles to look attractive. But this is cheating. It is not actually attractive. Not in any spiritual sense. So that is the nature of this world. The attractiveness to anything here is just Maya, illusion. Yeah?
Can it be used by devotees, this cheating propensity, or should it be completely rejected?
Yes, it can be used, but one has to be intelligent. Do you want more details? Or what?
I can see for myself that I am cheating now and then I want to know if I should just try to avoid it or if I should try to use it.
You see, Srila Prabhupada said, he said that our men, or members of this movement, should be loved by everyone for their honesty. So honesty is the quality of a devotee. But at the same time, this is the world of cheaters and cheated, as you have said. Cheating is going on. And we have to advance this movement, that is our duty. So in this world of cheaters, if a devotee is intelligent, since cheating is going on anyway, he can use this cheating propensity to the advantage of the Sankirtan movement. But generally, personally, we should be honest. You know, for instance, anyway, I could give examples, but they could be a little controversial. So then I don't have to give examples, do I? I think this house is one example. The whole story of how this house was gotten and the financing and so on. The devotees intelligently, they made arrangements with bank and so on. Some, you could say some clever dealings were there. Someone may say, some real moralist may say, oh, that was cheating. Why weren't you honest? But in these things, everybody is cheating. the whole system itself is designed to facilitate cheating. So such cheating can be engaged in Krishna's service. Srila Prabhupada said concerning the book distribution, there was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada who was he was protesting actually that it's not a good image for our movement that these book distributors go out and they are persuading people to buy these books, even by telling strange stories, you see. In this way, they even by that, by telling lies or some fantastic story, they're persuading people to buy books. And Srila Prabhupada, he said to this person, "Oh, so you've become such a great moralist. You consider that it's better to be moral than to take a risk for serving Krishna." You know, even in Mahabharata, Maharaj Yudhisthira, he was placed in a position by Krishna, in a situation that he had to lie. Now, he was known as the Dharmaraj. He was the king who embodied honesty, dharma, religious principles. He'd never told a lie. But he was placed in a situation where he had to testify that Ashvatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had been killed in battle. And he was reluctant to do this. But, so he said, yes, Ashvatthama was killed. And then in the soft voice he said, I don't know whether man or elephant, because an elephant, Ashvatthama, had been killed too. So he tried to get out of telling a lie. And Srila Prabhupada said, for this, he had to see hell. Not for telling a lie, but for being, for not being firmly situated in his dedication to Krishna's mission. He didn't go to hell, but he had to see hell. Horrible thing to see. So you see, Krishna consciousness, devotional service is beyond mundane morality. What does real honesty mean? Real honesty means to serve Krishna. That's the ultimate definition of honesty. So this world is a place of dishonesty. People don't want to serve Krishna here. So if a devotee who is trying to push on this movement, if he goes to such people and straightforwardly says that I'm asking you to engage yourself in Krishna's service, then very likely they may say no. So then which is better then? Since our mission is not to be mundane moralists, but to push on this movement. So we get hung up in mundane morality. Yes, I will be very honest. I will follow every mundane law. I'll get this big book of Swedish law and study it very carefully so that I will follow every law. But then our Sankirtan movement just dwindles and dies as a result. This is not very good. So one has to be intelligent. These people, they don't want to serve Krishna, but somehow we have to engage them in Krishna's service, Prabhupada said, by hook or by crook. So this is a higher principle of morality.
Where does this intelligence, more?
Intelligence means discrimination, and discrimination means realization. So this type of intelligence is not something you can memorize from a book. Because there's no book which can record all the possible situations where you may have to use this intelligence. But one must have simply some realization of our philosophy, which he can apply in all different types of situations as they come up. Yes?
Sometimes in the schools they say that they felt cheated when they met the Sankirtan devotee. And I don't know exactly how I should respond to this, so that they can understand and be benefited.
Well, the thing is also that, as I said, one has to be intelligent. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to be experts. So if a Sankirtan devotee is going to use these techniques, he has to be very expert. If afterwards so many people are feeling cheated, then that means he's not expert. And better not he. Better he doesn't do this.
Should one apologize or what? How should what is
You have to use your intelligence also in that situation. Of course, ultimately, I mean, the Sankirtan devotees are blameless because if they distribute the books, that is a success. But yes, then when you go afterwards, you may meet so many people who feel cheated. Then you have to use your intelligence to kind of smooth it over. Whether expert or not, we have to distribute these books. It's emergency work. It's like the house on fire, The house is on fire, and so we've not been trained as firemen. We don't know so expertly what to do, but we have to do something. We have to somehow or other bring water and throw it on the flames and put the fire up. So in the course of doing that, we may make so many mistakes, you see. Like if the house is on fire, right? So the person next door, he has one of these sprinklers set up. He's watering his lawn. And so we just run over there through his garden, trampling on the flowers, grabbing his hose, dragging it across the street, and spraying the water to put out our fire. So he might complain. You ruined my whole garden. You broke my sprinkler. He might complain. But, I mean, anybody with some reasonable sense will understand it. All right, maybe they made this mistake, but at least they saved their house from burning to the ground. What is better? They shouldn't have trampled your garden and let their house burn down? I mean, a reasonable person will understand. They weren't so expert, but they did what they had to do. So yes, in this movement, devotees are not always so expert. But still we have to try to do what we have to do. So ultimately, devotees are blameless. Okay. Anything else? Yeah?
One may feel sometimes like that one a little complacent and one feel that one doesn't need so much spiritual mastery. How to get rid of this?
Well, this is foolishness. We know that, just with a little intelligence you can understand that you need, even in material affairs, you need a teacher. You need a master. You can't, in material life, you can't learn everything just from books. That's well known. In any serious field, for instance, the medical field or law field or anything else like that, those who are approved doctors, approved lawyers, they have learned under a teacher. It's required. Because by learning under a teacher, one gets realized knowledge. There's jnana and vijnana. There's theoretical knowledge which one gets from books, but the realized knowledge one gets from a teacher. So this is true of material affairs. So since spiritual life is so much more demanding, so much more subtle, then how much more will it apply to spiritual life? How is it that when we come to spiritual life, it's whatever you want to do, then just do it? See? How is it that in material life, everything is so exacting? You must get education, you must have teacher, you must pass his test, get the certificate from him that you have pleased him. This we must do, otherwise we're not recognized in material society. And yet, actually, some people think, because they're fools, they think, well, spiritual life means whatever I like. Whatever I want, whatever whim I have, that's spiritual life. No, this is just foolishness. The idea that I don't need spiritual master, that it is simply foolishness. Since through spiritual master we approach Krishna, we learn from spiritual master how to serve Krishna. And since Krishna is the topmost personality, then how carefully and how exactingly we have to learn from our spiritual master everything. And you can't learn from your spiritual master unless you surrender to him, serve him with full attention. If one is taking it lightly, if one is taking, well, anyway, and then the knowledge will not be impressed in the heart. The knowledge will not actually take root and grow in the heart. And then what will be our relationship with Krishna? If we actually understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, with whom we have a personal relationship. Srila Prabhupada often gave this example. There's like a great man of the material world. Just like if in the course of preaching, you have the opportunity to meet some really big, important person who can really do a lot for this movement. So don't you want to find out something about this person? Don't you want to get from someone else who knows him, some connection to that person, so that your relationship with that person will develop nicely? Do you think you see such an important meeting? So what kind of fool am I if I think I just walk in there, anytime I want, don't even have to make an appointment, don't have to have an introduction. I'll just walk in and say, hello, and sit down in front of him, put my feet on his desk, do anything I like, say anything I like. Oh, then everything will be ruined very quickly. The whole relationship with that person will be spoiled forever. It's a very delicate thing to establish a nice friendship, a nice connection, even to an important person of this material world. And that is best done when you have what is known as what we call mutual friend. You see? You are friendly with someone who is friendly with that person. So that is, in Krishna consciousness, that is the spiritual master. If you are friendly with someone who is friendly with that person, then you have a very nice entrance, a very nice introduction to that person. So we're talking about Krishna, the supreme person. So we should not be so foolish as to think we can just stumble into the spiritual world. Hi, Krishna, here I am. And think that, because it's spiritual, it's all right. Okay, so we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.